Android, the platform used by all the cool kids who think they are edgy and love to customize their devices. But give them half a chance to play with the real cool kids with the blue bubbles instead of their ugly green ones, and they'll show their true colours. In the past couple of weeks, we've seen Nothing say that they can get iMessage on their phones. Apple to announce that they'll add RCS. Nothing Chat to be cancelled because of the horrible security concerns. Then Beeper Mini launching in to do the same thing, followed by Apple murdering their service in its sleep. And as fun as it is to giggle at the fAndroids, let's break down how all of this has happened. Nothing Chat was honestly one of the worst ideas that has basically ever happened, I think. But stay tuned, because Beeper was quite ingenious and came from a very unlikely source, but more on that later. So how did Carl Pay's Nothing Chat work? Well, you basically logged onto someone else's Mac Mini off in a server room somewhere, which relayed your iMessages to your poor person phone. Just leaving a random computer somewhere logged into your iCloud account is a bad idea at the best of times, but it seems that basically everything being sent backwards and forwards, including your iCloud credentials and messages, was in plain text and unencrypted too, so it could be easily intercepted. Now, I believe that's what's known as suboptimal. I mean, the fappening happened when celebrities' iCloud accounts were hacked, but luckily for celebrities, none of them use Android phones, even when they're being paid to be the spokesperson for the brand, as MKBHD revealed for Gal Gadot. So, not ideal. I know a lot of people suggested that using burner iCloud accounts would work, but then it's still attached to your phone number, and maybe you don't want people looking at what you're sending, whether it's a message or a spicy picture to the person you're trying to impress with your blue bubble. Then, of course, the delusional Carl Pay, who may be more obsessed with Apple than I am, claimed that Nothing Chat had forced Apple to concede on implementing RCS support for iPhones. Spoilers, he didn't. Most likely, Apple was trying to avoid the EU directing them to open up iMessage, but just a few days later, it was announced that iMessage wasn't big enough in Europe for them to bother with it anyway. Nice. So, once Nothing had sheepishly given up on their security nightmare of a feature, a new player entered the game. Beeper. It's an app designed to consolidate all of your messages from different platforms into a single app. So think WhatsApp, Facebook Messenger, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, Discord and more, all having their chat messages in a single place. But somehow, it seems a 16-year-old found a way to make iMessage work on Android with end-to-end encryption and not bouncing it off some other device, whether it was your own phone or a poor Mac Mini sweltering in a server farm somewhere. It was actually pretty ingenious. Now, my best understanding of this and how it worked is pretty much due to Benjamin May on the 9to5 Mac podcast, but he's an app developer, so I'm going to trust him. And it's that basically Beeper Mini was running an emulation of macOS code from a 5-ish-year-old version of Apple software on the Android device that was being used. So this meant the Android device was indeed sending fully encrypted messages, and via Apple's own servers, in what sounds like a pretty secure way. Good job, 16-year-old kid. And you could do it too with a subscription to Beeper Mini for just $2 a month. Now, I've got no issues with people making money off of their work. Did I mention I have a Patreon, by the way? Just checking. This would have been making money off of mainly Apple's work as opposed to Beeper's, and it seems that Apple was less happy about it than Ron DeSantis at a Pride parade. It seems pretty clear to me that any way of getting the iMessage service to genuinely work on Androids was, by its very nature, some kind of an exploit. I'm pretty sure that you're not supposed to be running a macOS emulator, or at least part of a macOS emulator, on your shoddily built peasant phone. It's probably the same rule that made building a Hackintosh a massive breach of the software license. You can officially only run macOS on Apple branded hardware, and no, putting one of those stickers that we all have sitting in our Apple box collection on an Android phone doesn't count. Somehow, even after Apple confirmed to The Verge that they did indeed block Beeper Mini's access, which is to protect the privacy of Apple's own customers and prevent the use of fake credentials, the founder of Beeper, whose name I absolutely cannot pronounce but I will put on the screen, said that Beeper Cloud and Beeper Mini are apps that need to exist, and that they'll keep working on it, as if iMessage coming to Android is going to cure cancer or something. He's wrong. These things don't need to exist at all. Things are allowed to exist on just one platform, especially when it's been created by the people that made the platform. If you want to play a PlayStation exclusive game, probably best to buy a PlayStation. If you want to watch a show on NBC, you should probably watch it on NBC. If you want iMessage, buy an iPhone or a Mac. Or buy an iPhone and then a Mac. and then probably an iPad and an Apple Watch, because that's what we all do. Because Android users, once you come to Apple, you realise what you were actually missing out on in the first place is not a blue bubble. Now, if you hated this video, thank you so much for watching all of it, but probably don't like or subscribe, because you're only going to get more of me probably not being super kind to Android users. Thank you to all the Patreons, and I will see you in the next one.